Let's talk about next chapter, Lost Spring. Stories of Stolen Childhood. First part, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. Telling about the protagonist of the story, Sahibe Alam. The name Sahibe Alam, but situation totally opposite. Sahib is someone who is a prince, who is a king, but he is a rag picker. Narrator finds him moving on the streets with other many barefoot boys. They used to do the rag picking. Once narrator asked why you people don't wear slippers, why don't you wear shoes? They had different opinions. They were saying different statements. One said that my mother doesn't let them down on the shelf. Other one is saying I don't want to wear in, whereas other one says I want to wear shoes. So narrator realizes that it is not even the lack of money, but it is their tradition. They have started learning how to live without wearing shoes. Then we get to know that since the same children used to roam on the same streets, so narrator used to have encounter with these boys again and again. So he came to know that they all were living on the periphery of Delhi, that is in Simapuri. They all people had come from Bangladesh in 1971. They have left their land, property, everything. Why so? Because there were floods, sometimes there were droughts, and they were not even getting food to eat. So they had to leave their spaces, they had to leave their places. Even their mother said that it is better to sleep with food at night despite sleeping empty stomach and with lot of pain in stomach. So this was the reason they had to leave their own place and they had to live here. And they were living in the mud houses with the roofs of tin, tarpaulin, and they have become so habitual. Wherever they were living at this place, they have no identity, they have no permits, but they have ration cards with which they were able to get food for their families. So wherever they get food, they used to fix their tents at the same place. Then talking about the garbage, he says Sahibe Alam is saying that sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. So for children, this rag picking task is quite interesting because they can find something like coin, they can find rupees, and for parents, it is the means of survival. Then we get to know one day, these rag pickers, these boys also have so many hopes, desires. They have also aspirations to live like other boys, but they are lacking in that. Reason behind their money. They are not financially strong. They cannot enjoy the things other children are enjoying. So one day the narrator finds him standing outside the neighborhood club. What was the scenario? That two people were playing tennis over there, and when the narrator came, he told her that whenever no one is around, the gatekeeper allows him to go inside and play. So this was the kindness of the gatekeeper, but he notices that he was wearing the shoes which were too big for him, and there was a big hole in that shoe. So seeing this, even though narrator could see that it is being given by someone, some rich boy who must have refused to wear it, that's why Sahib has found it. But the one who doesn't have shoes, it is also a better option that at least with the hole he is wearing a shoe. Then next time when he finds Sahib, he finds him holding a milk canister. He tells him that now he has started working at a tea shop wherein he is getting 800 rupees a month, and he also gets all day meals. Then when the narrator asks if he is happy working there, so there was some lost expressions on his face because now he is not the master of his own choice. Next part of the story deals with Mukesh. The name of the second part is I Want to Drive a Car. Herein, the protagonist of the story, Mukesh, he wants to drive a car. He lives in Firozabad, which is a center of bangle making. Herein, you find every other house, they are busy in making bangles, soldering pieces of glasses, and then welding glasses. This is the only task they are doing. Herein, no one knows that it is illegal for children under 20 years of age to work at glass industry because it is all dingy cells, it is all dark there, there is no light, there is no air, and children are doing work on that. And that is for sure that by the time they become adult, they go blind. Mukesh is very excited to take the narrator to his house. But what kind of house it is? Even though he says it is newly renovated, but all the way it is narrow lanes, and when he reaches home, he finds that there are wobbly doors, crumbling windows, and it is all wobbly, means it is not possible for a common people to stay in that house. But the narrator notices that there was a young girl. She was Mukesh's Bhabhi, sister-in-law, Mukesh's elder brother's wife, and she was cooking on one side of on the fire stove. The spinach leaves were kept on the fire, and on the other side there were chopped vegetables kept on the ground. The moment she notices her father-in-law has come, she immediately wears that veil, and then she sits quietly. She notices how this young girl has got this title of Bahu at such a young age. Then we get to know that he could only teach his kids about this thing. He couldn't send them to school. He could only teach them this task, that is of bangle making. Then we are being told about another girl, that is Savita. She is sitting by an old woman. She is also busy in doing this task of soldering pieces of glass, and she doesn't know how important it is, these bangles. And one day when she becomes a bride, she will also be wearing these bangles, which is a symbol of suhag. But when all these things are going on, she was noticing that every other house they are involved in doing it, and even the old lady tells that her own husband had gone blind because of these bangle making things. And then she finds some young boys, she talks to them that why don't they come forward, why don't they discuss about it, why don't they come forward to discuss why these middlemen are putting them in traps, and they are living just like a very poor life. That old lady tells, no, she says that we don't have even one time, one day full meal at their place. So what is the fun of doing this task wherein they are struggling so hard, still they are not getting even full meal to eat? Those young boys tell that they cannot take any action, because if they are going to speak against middlemen, then they will be held up by the police, they will be put into the prison. So there is no one who could come forward and help them to come out of that situation. But narrator was happy that there was a boy named Mukesh who has some dreams. He wants to drive a car. He says that he will go to the garage and he will learn the skill of this, and this was still positive in that whole negative situation.